Did you get something from the Oscar guy? Oh, poor Sammy. I think we need to add another employee.
It's gonna be off the chain.
Just for the. No, which one was his?
Oh, no.
Is that all one person there? Oh, okay. What is he? He must have got the complete wrong impression about, he's got table to sign. Not, there's no, well, I guess that group is doing their own thing. So who knows, right, maybe he's right to say that. Right.
Yes.
No. Oh, so this will go on the actual, this will go online? Okay. How do you replace it when it's already up? Put your phone on. Okay. Thank you for doing that. Did you get my text message? Oh my gosh. It's just like, yeah, exactly. It's like the fourth one's done like that. Thank you.
Call the October 6th Common Council meeting in order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Olson.
Here.
Alderman Vandria.
Here.
Alderman Mayor. Here. Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Here,
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Here.
Alderman Barber.
Here.
Alderman Nelson.
Here. We have a quorum. Please rise and join the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started this evening, I need to remind everyone, even those listening, we do have a city ordinance that, city resolution regarding written comments being submitted to the Common Council and the clerk. The policy states that if they're requested to be read into the record, that they be received by the clerk. They may be read into the record if they're received 24 hours or more prior to the meeting. We're receiving requests to read things into the record as early as a few minutes ago, and we just can't accommodate that. So if you want things read into the record, get them to us 24 hours or more in advance.
Mayor.
Of course, Alderman Wilhelm.
Everybody does have them.
I just wanted to also add on to that same ordinance requires that apparently comments, even sent ahead of time, aren't allowed for public hearings.
That's correct.
So if people want to comment during a public hearing, they have to be here in person.
That's correct. Madam Clerk.
And one last thing to add, up until the one that just came through about 10 minutes ago, all of those comments that were submitted to me via email have been copied and are presented and in front of the Common Council this evening, with the exception of the one that just came through a few minutes ago. But just wanted to let everybody know that they were distributed.
Mayor,
Alderman Mayor.
can I confirm that the emails I sent today were entered into public record by Justin Baranski, and John Leo?
Yes. Is his name John? Okay,
Yes.
yeah, yes.
With that, I'll open the citizens' comment period. Any citizen wishing to speak, please come forward, give us your name and address, and tell us what you want to tell us.
Hello, I'm Joy Dragonis Nogales, 7573 Highview Drive, Greendale. I just wanted to come and speak tonight regarding something that was recently brought to my attention, which seems to be, on paper anyway, a step in the right direction as far as the neighbors are concerned and the noise for the rec sports complex. The problem that I'm seeing with the documents and the contract, shall we say, is it's an authorization to perform an analysis. An analysis is not a comprehensive sound study, which is part of the ordinance that was adopted regarding the ROC, stating that it would be a requirement with the section 15-3.0442A district intent. It's the intent of the ROC to provide a multi-use entertainment complex, and the area shall comply with the standards and requirements of the P1 Park District and all other applicable zoning requirements of the United Development Ordinance. From there, it goes on to talk about noise levels. All noise levels must be in compliance with section 15-3.0908-15-3.1107 of the ordinance. It is page 15, number 8. In their prior, it also states conditions of approval in section 3. Prior to any new or revised concerts, live music venues, or outdoor events utilizing speakers, including but not limited to the proposed baseball stadium, the applicant shall prepare a comprehensive outdoor sound study of the ROC sports complex, incorporating both existing and proposed events and facilities. That such study shall identify and recommend such practices with all pertinent city noise regulations and standards, which also reasonably address neighbors' concerns that such study be reviewed by an independent party of the city's choosing. So any recommendations from the comprehensive study that apply to existing facilities or events shall be implemented by the applicants within 2 years from the date of acceptance of the study by the common council. Now, I know years ago, Mr. Zimmerman and Mr. Marceau came and said, we don't really know what a comprehensive sound study is. And I guess I just wanted to read the adjective of comprehensive for you, so everybody understands what that means. Comprehensive is a complete, including all or nearly all elements or aspects of something, of large content or scope, wide-ranging. I know that the county passed a resolution to have a comprehensive sound study done. But what I'm hoping is that Franklin in and of itself will uphold the promises and agreements that were made prior to make sure that a comprehensive sound study is done, not an analysis. The problem with the analysis is we have 3 monitors which are not placed in the right areas nor at the right height. This was determined by someone I know personally who came out and looked, has their own company and does this for a living. It's his professional opinion, doesn't add up. So I'm just asking that you uphold your word in your comprehensive sound study.
Anyone else?
Dana again, 9011 West Hawthorne Lane. Can you hear me? Okay. I just have a couple comments. I have one question. So I see ballpark comments is 3 items on the agenda. Does that allow me to speak for each subject, or how is that? I've never had that situation before. I mean, can I speak 3 times, I guess is what I'm asking, or how does that arrange? I've never had this situation before, so.
Oh, I think you have.
Okay.
You can speak now on 3 items.
Okay, no, 3 times. Okay. So first of all, the Wisconsin state statute regarding 19.85, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing in public funds, or the conduct under specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. So I'm just a little confused about this closed session. I know you're discussing impact fees and a irrevocable payment bond, but I don't know what kind of negotiation that involves because it's not involving public lands, or I don't think it's involving any kind of investment or negotiation. And then the other question I had regarding that is, do you also have an irrevocable performance bond going on also? Because most developments have both. So that's my question regarding that. As far as the sound study goes, I really appreciate that you're making steps in the right direction to help address the issues in the neighborhood. I believe I sent you a forward of the email of the person that actually has the monitor in their backyard, and they do not file complaints. It does not raise to their concern, as opposed to other areas. Obviously, we have many citizens that file complaints often. And then the other question I have is that the survey that was conducted on 9/13, there were no complaints filed. I verified with the city of Franklin planning department. There's no complaints on that date, so I don't think they really gained a great understanding on the impact of the neighborhood if the sound was not loud that day. I guess is what I'm saying, and I don't understand why, because it normally is, at least at some point, for most activities. The other question I have regarding the impact fees is that was the $464,000 payment paid on time in July? And then my final comment is regarding the Hills Has Eyes. I know last year there was an approval for 1,200 people per day, and I think given Tony Evers' announcement, I think it was today, trying to limit gatherings also, that should be considered, kind of concerning. And I know Milwaukee County turned down the activities on the county land. I'm just raising it to the concern that I think that might not be a good idea to have that many people. Right? Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Ms. Knoll, good evening.
Naomi Noel, 8610 West Hawthorne Lane.
Mayor, is there any way to turn up their volume?
they can get closer to the microphone.
They're actually pretty, Dana was very close to the microphone, but it,
Okay, houses. I can take off my mask. Okay, Naomi Noel, 8610 West Walker Lane. I noticed that this,
You can turn your
survey-
microphone off, and then your speaker will work. There you go. Go ahead, name one. Thank you.
Okay, the survey that was, the initial survey by this company was done on Sunday, September 13th. When I was looking at this, I kind of made the observation that the last time we had a meeting here and we were talking about the sound, I'm not sure exactly when it was, but shortly after that, through my yard, for quite a while, the sound definitely was less than it had been all summer. And I'm wondering if this September 13th date, if this company did their survey on that Sunday, I'm having the feeling that they weren't hearing what we've been hearing all summer. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Snow. Anyone else? Mr. Rivera.
Howdy. Hello, everyone. So I want to talk about, ask the question.
Your name and address, please.
Say that again?
Your name and address.
Marcelino Rivera, 5536 West Alwood Drive. I wanted to talk about this closed session that you guys are talking about with Water Tower Park, and ask the question, why is it being discussed in a closed session? And especially considering it's such close time frame to the Strauss proposal. From the City of Franklin website, the Franklin Water Utility was created July 1st, 1977. The utility's water storage system consists of 2 million gallon water storage tank, a 500,000 gallon water tower, and 4 ground storage reservoirs. So that's 2,500,000 gallons in just the storage tank and the tower alone. That doesn't take into consideration the 4 ground storage reservoirs. How much is in those ground storage reservoirs? Another question, how much does Strauss currently use concerning water, and how much would they require should they be granted the special use on Thursday? How much will this water tower park cost taxpayers? These are questions that the taxpayers deserve the answers to, and prior to you approving this Strauss brand proposal. Excuse me. The source of water is Lake Michigan, which is one of the largest bodies of fresh water in the world. The water distributed by the utility is purchased from Oak Creek Water and Sewer Utility, which performs all of the necessary water filtration and treatment. This is from Food Northwest. I'm sure if you guys find me on social media, you can find access to this link where I'm going to read off the quote. Beef processing water usage, primarily from carcass washing and process cleanup, has been reported in the range of 150 to 450 gallons per animal processed. As a general rule, meat processors use about 1 gallon of water per pound of processed hamburger meat. So, with the Strauss proposal, initially, they're going to be processing, I've heard, according to your comments, Mr. Mayor, to Mayor Rick of Muskego. According to his statement on social media, he said that it would start at 500 initially. So that is in odds with what, and you can shake your head, but this is what Mayor Rick is quoted on social media saying. So with 500 cows a day at the max, 450 gallons per animal, that's 225,000 gallons a day. So this leads me to my next point, which is what these other ladies have spoken about. If a simple sound analysis is performed in replacing a complete sound study, how are we supposed to trust that Strauss is going to uphold what it is that we can't see or we don't know about in regards to impact negatively to our source of water. Okay. If something as simple as sound is resulting in multiple constituents complaining about sound disruptions in surrounding home and property owners are feeling the undue or adverse impact of the existing community and homeowners without further studies, how is that right? Mr. Olson, you were the one in your email to all of these city officials said about me that you said the things that you said about me. And that's why I'm here, because I'm gonna stand up. I'm gonna stand up for my right, for my First Amendment. And I'm gonna stand up for the right of all these other citizens that want the answers. They want the truth. They want it, Mr. Mayor, and they deserve it. Here's a city ordinance, 183, that you referenced in your email, a new law for the city. Preservation of the home is the keystone of democratic government. The public health and welfare and good order of the community requires that members of the community enjoy in their home and dwellings a feeling of well-being, tranquility, and privacy. And when absent from their homes and dwellings, carry with them the sense of security inherent in the assurance that they may return to the enjoyment of their homes and dwellings. You are not affording that to these citizens that are complaining about sound. But yet you made the complaint about 10 protesters, peaceful protesters, may I add, that you were aware and informed that we were going to be peaceful. There was no reason for you to assume that we were going to be hostile in any form, way, shape, or form. So, in conclusion, I say stop authorizing bare payments because, or any additional pulls until after the Strauss matter concerns have been addressed fully. Thank you all.
Mr. Rivera, I need to correct you on two things. First thing is, you mentioned a comment that Mayor Petfalski said, and he claimed 500 head of cattle. He said 500 head of cattle. I said, excuse me, sir. Okay, I let you talk, you let me talk. That's how this works. He said 500, starting at 500 head of cattle. I told him up to 500 head of cattle, which is the statement from Strauss in all of their write-ups.
Regardless, it's still a lot of water.
No. See, you said that I said 500 head of cattle. I said up to. It's a big difference.
Listen.
Alderwoman?
Mayor Rick made.
Excuse me. It's my turn. It's my turn. Relative to your protest in front of my house, I had no way of knowing whether it was going to be peaceful or not. Doesn't matter. It was broadcast on the radio per your instructions. I had no idea how many people were going to attend. I didn't know if it was going to be you or 1,000.
Wait until tomorrow.
Given the current society, no way of knowing. Doesn't matter, 1 or 1,000. We don't permit it, period. That's it. Thank you very much. Anyone else? And by the way, I did hear that threat.
What threat?
Wait until tomorrow. I did hear that.
Say that again?
It's on the record. It's recorded.
Mike Zimmerman, 751 South 92nd Street. I want to separate the Strauss deal from the sound study. I don't see the linkage, but in front of you, I agree to pay for the sound study. If this is not, the whole goal is to get the residents to understand what we've got going on. I'm trying to get an expert on it. I think we tried to solve for that. If this is not, if they're against it and they want to wait for county to do a comprehensive sound study, we would suggest we just do that. I'm willing to pay for the sound study at the, you know, with the group that you guys decide to hire, but what I don't wanna do is all of a sudden have that, you know, 6 months from now being up for debate. So what I would suggest in tonight's motion is that you reconsider, and I don't wanna pay for this thing twice, I'm happy to get to the right answer. I met with a group of citizens, last time we spoke, somebody was appointed, as a key, stakeholder, and we're trying to work through these issues. I was in the neighbor's yard, trying to understand them, the resolution, I think maybe why the sound did drop is because I was out there, we were trying to understand the issues. So again, it's all motivated by trying to get to the right answer, but what I wanna make sure we're doing here tonight is we're making the decision to get to the right answer, and if this is just a placebo pill, or if it's perceived as something different, I would suggest that maybe we don't do it, just wait for Milwaukee County to move forward. Thank you.
This is an effort to fix the problem, not study it. But if you don't want to do that, I'm okay. Whatever you guys want to do. Anyone else? Mr. Kerner, good evening.
Good evening. Dale Kerner, 8630 West Hawthorne Lane. This sound has been problems from day one. And there's times it's like this, there's times it's like this. It's like this and it's like that. There's times I go up there on my motorcycle and I can hear it in my backyard, whatever's going on. And it's not a clear thing sometimes, you know, but sometimes the bass beat. Well, anyways, I went up there one Saturday night and there was 3 venues going on. I could hear stuff in my backyard, but you couldn't tell exactly what it was. So that one was, the movie theater was going on. It wasn't obnoxious. I went up by the Umbrella Bar, they had live music, it wasn't obnoxious. Went down below by the, there was a wedding going on. That one was a little more obnoxious, but when I separated myself from all 3 areas, they did not overlap. But yet when I went home, it was just unbelievable. I mean, you thought you were closer than I was to begin with. So it's not something we make up, and there's times, you know, bless you guys for the movie theater thing. I mean, we got part of the summer out of it because of the quietness of it. And, you know, we gotta work this out somehow. I mean, if there's gotta be another berm put up somewhere, let's do it or something, or the station of the speakers. But, you know, this is not a made up or contrived thing by the neighbors whatsoever. And there's times, you know, you call the cops and it's as loud as can be, and then 5 minutes later, there's no noise out there at all. So, you know, we gotta do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kerner. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else rise, I'll close the citizens' comment period. Move on to item B2, mayoral proclamation about our championship baseball team. Mike, come on up. Since we're crowded over there, let's go over here. This is a little late, but we couldn't do it quick enough. This is a proclamation declaring our pride in the Milwaukee Milkmen professional baseball team in the hometown city of Franklin. I'm going to change the name. It's going to be the Franklin Milkmen professional baseball team. Being the 2020 American Association of Independent Baseball champions, now associated with Major League Baseball. Whereas once upon a time, 1 year ago, we proclaimed at an opening day for the Milwaukee Milkmen professional baseball team, and whereas while last year did not end with the Milkmen in more wins than losses column, we knew they would be back, and we knew they would continue to climb the ladder of life in their games, and that victory would prevail. And whereas here we are, experiencing the refreshing and rising feelings of pride and achievement from the last to the first, against all odds, the unlikely triumph of the underdogs, the Milkmen now being I'll wait. We can wait. We're all done? Everybody okay? Well done? Okay. Whereas, while all walks of life, it is the team that matters. Part of teamwork is in recognizing teamwork for extraordinary efforts and achievements. And whereas in the championship year, right-handed pitcher Peyton Gray has been named the American Association Rookie of the Year. And whereas in the championship year, outfielder Brett Vertigan has been named the American Association Co-Defensive Player of the Year. And whereas in the championship year, outfielder Adam Brett Walker, being from the Milwaukee and having played at Milwaukee Lutheran High School, has been named American Association Player of the Year. And whereas I quote, "To me, baseball has always been a reflection of life. Like life, it adjusts. It survives everything." Willie Stargell said that. And nothing can happen if it's not first a dream. If you have someone with a dream, Mike, if you have a motivated person with a goal and a vision, Mike, if you have someone that never gives up, Mike, who has great hope, anything can happen. Never give up. Never, ever give up. Jim Valvano said that. And whereas now, in only year 2 of its existence, the Milwaukee Milkmen are the champions. I gotta do this right. Now, therefore, I, Stephen R. Olson, Mayor of the City of Franklin, Wisconsin, do hereby declare that we all marvel upon the, as a team, Milwaukee Milkmen, miraculous mountaintop milestone, monumental maximum magnitude motivation, merit magnificent memorial championship. You are the champions. Presented the 6th day of October, 2020. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you. Just quickly, I want to thank the Common Council. I know it's obviously controversial, but we were 6 of 6 stadiums that had fans this year. So kudos to you guys. I know this was an easy decision. I know it came with controversy, but kudos to you guys. I know, hopefully one day you guys don't get a proclamation. That was awkward. But, I think we did a good job. 0 incidents with the health department, so I appreciate everybody's support. Thank you.
Congratulations. I did mention they are now affiliated with the national, they are now associated with Major League Baseball. So they are a feeder organization for Major League Baseball. So we are a Major League Baseball team, which is tremendous. Congratulations, Mike. Item C, approval of the regular common council meeting minutes of September 15th. Any additions or corrections?
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item E, organizational business. Any requests for separate action? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Alderman Mayor. Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderman Barber.
Aye.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Motion carries, 6 ayes, no noes, no absence, no abstentions. G1 is a resolution providing for the sale of $9,770,000 of taxable general obligation bonds. Mr. Finance Officer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The city signed a developer's agreement for Ballpark Commons some time ago. Shortly after that, the city borrowed $22.5 million to fund infrastructure costs on a 5-year note to give the city flexibility relative to the payment of those items or respond to changes in activity as that infrastructure was installed. We now find ourselves 2.5 years later with very favorable market rates relative to interest expense and about $9.8 million to refund or refinance out of that original $22.5 million. John Cameron is here with us this evening from Ehlers & Associates, the city's financial advisor, to discuss a potential refinance of the final $9.8 million of that $22.5 million temporary borrowing. John.
Thank you very much, Paul. Good evening, everybody. What I'm going to walk through tonight is the pre-sale report that you have in your packet. So this would be for the issuance of $9,770,000 taxable general obligation refunding bonds 2020A. As Paul had indicated, this is to take out the remaining portion of the 2018 taxable note anticipation notes, which can be prepayable at any time. This would be issued for a term of 17 years, which would coincide with the remaining life of Tax Incremental Finance District Number 5. Principal on the bonds would be due on March 1st, starting in the year 2024, out through 2037, and interest would be payable every 6 months, beginning March 1st, 2021. We would be asking for a call feature on this, which would allow prepayment of the bonds on March 1st, 2030, or any date thereafter. In terms of rating, we would be, as part of this debt issuance, looking to seek a rating with Moody's. The city's current rating is AA2, which is very, very strong. We would go through the rating process in conjunction with the issuance. In terms of method of sale, what we're proposing here is to issue this debt on a competitive sale basis where we would look to take bids, hopefully many, many bids, from different underwriters and banks. We would take those bids on the morning of the Common Council meeting in November, late November, and be present that evening with results of the sale. In terms of the timeline, which is on page 5 of the report, the schedule that we're looking at as of right now would have us selling on November 17th and being present at Common Council meeting that evening with the sale results. We'd be looking to distribute the official statement the week of November 9th approximately, and holding the rating call pretty much about the same time. The estimated closing date would be December 10th, and the redemption of the remaining portion of the note anticipation note would be December 30th. In terms of the schedules, the sizing, estimated sizing of the bonds are shown on page 6 of the pre-sale report, highlighted in green. And the cash flow for the debt is on the following page, page 7, and page 8 of the pre-sale report. Just to kind of walk through the cash flow from left to right, we have total revenues coming in, projected revenues for tax increment revenue, as well as interest earnings, and then the pilot payment on the stadium. So total revenues coming in the last column in green. You have your existing debt highlighted in the first couple of columns in blue, and then what we're estimating in terms of total principal and interest on the debt that we're talking about this evening, highlighted in green. A couple important points, I think, on this spreadsheet just to highlight in terms of where interest rates are. As Paul had said, interest rates are extremely favorable right now. When the note anticipation note was originally issued in 2018, at that time, what we were estimating based on where interest rates were was a total interest cost on the debt once it was taken out of about $9.7 million. In 2019, when the first portion of debt was taken out and refinanced, at that time, we were forecasting the existing debt that was taken out plus the new debt yet to be taken out at 8.86 million in interest, so about $856,000 better than what we showed back in 2018. And right now, with the current interest rate climate, the debt that's already been, taken out and refinanced, plus what we're talking about this evening, we're now down to total projected and actual interest cost of about 6.6 million. So about $3 million, a little over $3 million better than what we originally anticipated back in 2018 in terms of total interest cost on this debt, and about $2.2 million better than what we were forecasting in 2019. So that just gives you kind of a range of magnitude of really how much interest rates have come down in recent years. So certainly very good news for the city.
John, what you're saying is that our financial planning and the interest rates are going to save the city and the taxpayers almost more than $3 million.
Compared to what we were originally projecting, yes.
So we're going to save $3 million.
3 million. Yes. 3 million.
$3 million.
Yep. 3 million. The last page, or last item that I'll just highlight here on page 9, just kind of again shows that trend in interest rates over the last year. And you can really see that, rates have fallen. There's really not much more room to go in terms of downward trajectory, but kind of the low water mark over the last 12 months was late August. Rates have crept up a little bit, but have kind of settled and come back down a little bit since then. So.
Mr. Mayor, given that report from Ellers and John, staff is asking the Common Council to adopt a resolution which would provide for the sale of these notes not to exceed $9,770,000.
Is there such a motion?
So move.
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Discussion?
Oh, wait.
Right.
I saw Alderman Dandria. Well, we'll just go in order. Alderman Dandria, then Alderman Mayor, then Alderman Wall.
Paul, on page 6 of the long sheets, the date in their taxable NAND 7/10/1905, and then in the green section,
work
you've
backwards.
also got that. Could you make it with corrections?
We can make those corrections, but the original NAN was taken out in early 2018.
Okay.
Not
Thank you.
1905?
It was a very good year.
That's right.
Alderman Mayor.
I was gonna point that out too. You guys are
I
the
think your
numbers
mic
guys.
is it on? Your mic on?
Test 1, 2. Hello? We'll go to Kristen and I'll grab one.
Okay.
Okay. Check, 1, 2. Test, test.
That's work.
Okay. Thank you. I was gonna point the dates out too. A lot of these numbers in here, you guys are the numbers guys. To a certain extent, we have to trust you guys that the numbers are accurate. So when we see numbers that are not accurate, that we can identify, kind of, just makes us wonder a little bit. Anyway, point of my question. This is basically just a refinancing of money that was already in the plan. When we looked at all the TIF district plans that laid out the financing from day one to the end, this money is already in there. It's already planned. This is not new money. Is that correct?
That's correct, Alderman. We borrowed the $22.5 million in early 2018 on a construction loan, which had an ultimate due date 5 years later. But we had an opportunity anytime prior to that to refinance that money. This is the final refinance of a portion of that original 2018 money.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, I was happy to hear you say this is gonna save taxpayers money because the entire TIF district was sold to the taxpayers, saying it wasn't gonna cost them anything to begin with. That's it, thanks.
Alderman Wilhelm.
Obviously, same catch on the numbers, so thanks for bringing that up. What is the payoff time frame difference in years compared to what we have now to when we do this?
Are you talking about this note in particular or the
Yes,
TID
yeah.
in general?
No, this note in particular.
That's presented in the presale report on page 7 in the column that's colored in green. It's the rightmost column. And it would indicate this note would be paid off in 2037.
Yes, that's what I have. It's also listed on page 33. It says 2024 to 2037. But what is the current, or the question is, what's the difference between going from what we have now and payoff time to this one? This one goes out to 2037. What's the current one go out to?
The original financing plan also had us paying off this TID in 2037.
Okay, so there's no difference.
There's
in
no
time.
real difference in what's
That's what-
going on.
Okay, and then the other thing, would you please put on the record for the ones that don't have this, what risk factors you see for us? Great savings on money, but let's also know what the risk factors are. And that's all I have after that.
Are you looking for us to enumerate those this evening, Alderman?
Well, I'm looking for you to probably state what's on page 35 where it says risk factors. They're here, I just want them. So, because before it was the question, who's on the hook if it doesn't happen? And so it says here, maybe I'll just do it. In the event this revenue is not available, the city is obligated to levy property taxes in the amount sufficient to make up all debt payments. That's the risk factor, right?
That's certainly a major risk factor,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk.
Alderman Nelson,
Aye.
Alderman Barber,
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm,
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman,
Aye.
Alderman Mayor,
Aye.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye. Motion carries, 6 ayes, no noes, no absence, no abstentions. Okay, we move on to G2, which is an initial resolution authorizing GO bonds in the amount not to exceed $3,175,000 for community development projects in various TIF districts, and a resolution approving the sale of not to exceed $3,175,000 in GO community development bonds, Series 2020B, and a resolution directing publication of the notice to electors.
Mr. Mayor.
These are separate motions.
There are 3 separate motions before you related to this item, but in general, what is before you this evening is the completion of the city raising the financing to satisfy the city's obligation under a development agreement with Bear Development related to TIF District 6, which is in the southwest corner of the city. So the original development agreement that the city signed with the developer was to pay up to $9 million associated with the installation of certain infrastructure to create the business park in the southwest corner of the city. Early on, after the signing of that developer's agreement, the city borrowed $6 million to help finance the initial portion of those infrastructure costs. The developer has nearly exhausted that original $6 million of infrastructure requirement and has indicated that they are continuing on their progress. And so the city will need to raise an additional $3 million in order to meet its commitment. John Cameron, again, is here from Ellers and Associates to describe this particular offering, which will allow the city to raise the financing to satisfy its obligation. John?
Thank you, Paul. So this would be $3,175,000 of general obligation community development bonds, Series 2020B. The purpose would be for financing TID 6 projects. The debt service would be paid from TID 6 tax increment revenues. Given that this is a general obligation pledge and new money, following the issuance of this debt, the total principal outstanding in terms of general obligation debt would be approximately $67.9 million, which is 30% of the city's general obligation borrowing limit. The remaining GO borrowing limit would be, or capacity would be $161.47 million. The term of the bonds would be 14 years in length. Principal would be due March 1st, starting in 2023 through the year 2034, and interest would be payable every 6 months, beginning March 1st, 2021. As with the Series A issue, we would be looking for a prepayment or a call feature on this debt, which would allow prepayment anytime starting March 1st, 2029, or any date thereafter. Because this is tax exempt debt compared to taxable debt with the Series A issue, and the city is issuing less than $10 million in tax exempt debt during any one calendar year, this debt would be considered to be bank qualified, which would broaden the market for the bonds and potentially result in a lower interest rate for the city. As with the Series A issue, we would be seeking a rating through Moody's. We would be doing that concurrently with the 2020 A issue. In terms of method of sale and the basis of the recommendation, we would be looking to sell this competitively, just as we would be doing with the 2020 A issue. With risk factors, as it was pointed out with the 2020 A issue, this would be payable with TID 6 increment revenue. In the event that that increment is not available, the debt would have to be paid from another source. From a timing standpoint, the timing is shown on page 5 of the pre-sale. Same timing that was walked through with the 2020 A issue, where we would be looking to do the sale November 17th with an estimated closing date on December 10th. The sizing of the debt is on page 6 of the pre-sale report, highlighted in green in terms of the project and estimated issuance expenses. We are proposing to capitalize interest on this debt for the first 2 years' worth of interest payments, and that is built into the sizing that is shown on that page. In terms of the cash flow projection for the tax incremental finance district and the proposed principal and interest schedule for this debt, that is shown on the fold-out page on page 7. The principal and interest payments are highlighted in the column in green towards the left-hand side. Again, walking from left to right, we have total projected revenues coming in from tax increment finance revenue on the far column in the left. We have estimated interest earnings within the TIF district in the next column, capitalized interest on debt that's been issued to date, and the proposed debt shown thereafter. The existing general obligation bonds shown in the first column of expenses, and then this proposed debt shown thereafter with the municipal revenue obligation or PAYGO obligation shown in the next column thereafter. In terms of total interest cost, another item to point out here is, in the original project plan, the estimated interest expense with this debt issuance was approximately $947,000. Given where interest rates are currently, we're projecting the total interest expense for this debt to be $497,500 approximately, which would be $450,000 to the better from a planning estimate in terms of what we showed from the original project plan. With that, I'm happy to turn it back over.
Alderman Nelson and Alderman Moore.
I voiced this concern at our finance committee meeting, so I'm gonna share that with the rest, is we've got a developer that's behind. And I understand the timing, and I understand some of the savings here. I just would like perhaps a little more of an explanation why we should move forward with this now, even though they're behind considerably in time. And that's my big concern, is putting more money out when we're not really seeing much development at all going on there right now.
Thank you, Alderman, for the question. The initial motion before you merely authorizes the debt, so it doesn't require the sale of debt, but it gives us the opportunity to sell debt anytime within a several-year time frame when it seems right. The second resolution provides for the sale to occur in the relative immediate future. There are issuance costs that occur with all debt sales, and by combining several debt sales together, you can get some efficiencies. And with the previous resolution before you that adopted the refinancing of some funds, we felt it was a good opportunity to sell this debt at this point in time. The developer hasn't provided specific draw requests, but conversations with the developer indicate that they will be looking for additional funds before the end of the calendar year. And these funds, as the schedule indicates earlier, would provide the funds about the same time that the developer would be asking for them. If market conditions are such that at November 17th, the anticipated sale date, or other information comes before us that suggests the city does not want to provide the funding at this point in time, even though it's required under the developer's agreement, we can certainly pull the sale and not offer this particular item for sale on November 17th.
Thank you.
Alderman Wilhelm.
I was going to try to make this a little more simplified for some of the people in the audience and maybe clarify some things and make sure that I'm understanding the entire issue. So first of all, TID 6 is in District 6, which is why Alderman Nelson is concerned about its progress. And it's my understanding that we have taken out the $6 million. The developers have asked for a draw of approximately that already, which is basically they're asking to be paid for the money that they put in the ground as far as infrastructure.
That's correct.
Okay. And then they believe that we allowed a total of $9 million. We've taken out 6 in bonds. We have an obligation to pay another 3 because we have an agreement with them. For Alderman Nelson's understanding and the rest of the $3 million that's remaining will be paid for what? What have we gotten so far in the ground for our $6 million, and what is yet to be paid? And I don't need a big, long, just simplify pretty much water, sewer, something like that. $6 million went to what so far, and what's left for the $3 million we have to bond for?
For the most part, it's utilities. So they've strung a water line down Loomis from Victory Lamb Church. They've strung water line throughout the park and the residential subdivision, and sanitary sewer, done a lot of storm sewer and earth grading materials mostly. Some road they're getting ready to pave real soon, but that's not included here.
Okay, so are we expecting or hopeful they're going to get Monarch Drive paved? Because I'm going to guess that's one of the ones that still need to be paved.
Yes, that's, well, Monarch is the one that would go down in front of Strauss. That will probably not get paved this year. They would love to do that, but I think they're going to run out of weather. So they are looking for the residential subdivision to get the binder on and curb and gutter and so forth.
Okay. So the road that they have yet to put in, that is the road to feed Strauss, it's the driveway for Strauss, pretty much? Correct. Okay, and then the water and sewer is running down that road, correct?
Yes, I believe the water and sewer has been installed down that road.
Okay. All right, I'm just, because there was some questions about if they're using TID or not for the Strauss, and it seems like, well, they specifically aren't having to ask for TID, they're benefiting from the 6 million and the 3 million of a total 9 million for the entire TID district. A portion of that is a benefit for them, correct? Thank you. That's all.
Anyone else? Alderman Mayor.
Mr. Mayor? Yes, page 6 of your report, same issue, date, climate green line. One of the easy numbers, so hopefully with the more complicated numbers, they're more accurate. And several times a year, or a couple times at least, it refers to TIF districts, plural. It is only for TIF District 6, correct?
These funds are for TIF District 6 only. The Quarles and Brady, the city's bond council, has drafted the documents in a broad language form so that should something happen that we need to reappropriate these monies for something else, we have that flexibility.
But that would come to us.
That would come to you for authorization.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, 3 motions. First motion, motion to adopt resolution 2020, whatever it's going to be, an initial resolution authorizing general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $3,175,000 for community development projects in tax incremental districts.
So moved.
Second.
Let's do roll calls. Madam Clerk.
Alderman Dandridge.
Aye.
Alderman Mayor.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderman Barber.
Aye.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 ayes, no noes, no absent, no abstentions. Motion adopting resolution 2020, whatever it's going to be, a resolution providing for the sale of not to exceed $3,175,000 general obligation community development bond series 2020B.
So
Madam
moved.
Clerk.
We need a motion and a second.
Motion, please.
Alderman Dandria moved.
Dandria,
Second.
Hanneman. Madam Clerk.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Alderman Barber.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderman Mayor.
Aye.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Motion carries 6 ayes, no noes, no absent, no abstentions. Motion carries. Motion to adopt resolution 2020, whatever it's going to be, a resolution directing publication of notice to electors relating to bond sale.
So moved.
Second.
No need for roll call. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to G3, an authorization to Shen Milson Wilkie to perform an analysis of the stadium sound system at Franklin Field. I'll just give you the brief one. This is an attempt to fix the problem, not study it. You guys can do whatever you want. These guys are world-renowned experts in sound and audio visual. If you want to do something different, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Mayor.
Yeah, they probably are, but to be honest with you, the way this was written up, that they're one of your contacts, Mr. Mayor, that doesn't lead us a great deal of confidence in their...
Then do something else. I don't care.
Okay, well, I'd like to refresh everyone's memory a little bit if I could. And thank you very much for bringing this up. And thanks, Mike, for turning down the speakers for the movies. I hear that that's much better now, so thank you.
By the way, Alderman,
Yes,
I
sir.
hate to interrupt, but don't send me any emails. I don't want to hear them, okay? Don't call me, don't send me any emails. This would have fixed the problem. You guys know better, then do it. I'm out.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to refresh
I'm
everyone's
out,
memory
Dan.
here, okay? 2018, now we trust our staff. We have the greatest staff in the world. You've said that many times yourself. We trust our staff, and we've always had great staff. In 2018, staff would note that the sounds and lights from the facilities comprising the Rock Sports Complex, portion of the PDD, might have significant impacts not only upon adjacent developments, but upon the existing adjacent neighborhoods as well. It can be noted that decibel levels assumed by the applicant are incorrect for these type of uses, that lighting levels can be cumulative and partially at night sound noise levels as experienced by the neighbors can be significant, and they are affected by the wind direction and distance from the noise. Our staff further recommended to Plan Commission and this council, now this council voted on this. Alderwoman Wilhelm was absent, Alderwoman Hanneman was not yet on the council. But our staff recommended to Plan Commission that a comprehensive outdoor sound study of the Rock Sports Complex incorporated both the existing and proposed events and facilities, that such study shall identify and recommend such practices, equipment, and systems to not only fairly comply with all pertinent city noise regulations and standards, but which also reasonably addresses neighbors' concerns. That such study be reviewed by an independent party of the city's choosing and at the applicant's reasonable expense for review and acceptance by the Common Council prior to any further development within the Rock Sports Complex. And recommendations from the comprehensive sound study apply to existing facilities or events shall be implemented by the applicant within 2 years from the date of acceptance of the study of the Common Council. Staff goes on. Our staff goes on, and I appreciate you wanting to fix the problem. Let's do that once and for all. Staff goes on. Applicant requested and Plan Commission recommended change. Staff objects and recommends preparation of a comprehensive sound study as detailed in staff comments from the stadium dated May 13th. In the current city noise standard of 55 decibels at the property boundary be utilized, and that the sound meters are installed as recommended by staff. Staff also recommends that the comprehensive sound study include an analysis of the anticipated sound levels at the nearest inhabited residential dwelling, factoring difference in wind direction, and if such levels are not approaching zero after 11 p.m., that the 40 decibel level be implemented from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. This was recommended by staff to Planning Commission and to the council, and the council rejected it on a 4-1 vote. I was the only one that voted for it. I think we should fix the problem, and I appreciate Mike's dedication to wanting to do that. Let's do it right. It's about solutions. Mike's about solutions. He told us that a month ago when he was here, before we fixed the drive-in. I move that we table this, send it to staff for review, have them review all pertinent factors and all previous requirements, and come up with a plan to have a comprehensive sound study done, and we get it vetted, and we review it at this council.
Second.
Mr. Council President, the meeting is yours.
Well, I've got a first and a second. Alderwoman Hanneman on questions.
I just have a couple of questions. At the moment, in our request for council action sheet, we say the visit to the stadium during the playoff game was on 9/5, but yet in the proposal by Shen, Milsom, and Wilkie, it says that they did their initial survey on September 13th. Which was it? Do we know? Because we need to, if we do accept this, we need to be very clear on the date that is being reviewed. And I don't know in my mind that one date necessarily gives an overall view of the situation. But the other question I have is, why would something, and for the record, I think I know the answer, but why would something like this not go out for public bid?
It was the 15th.
I wasn't involved in this. The mayor was. If the mayor wants to respond to this, I think
there's a lot of experts in this room. They don't need me.
I believe the mayor, being in the industry, as long as he has been, he was asking someone to help resolve this sooner than later. he's taking it as time of the essence, and in my opinion, and he was trying to help in the situation. Obviously, if the motion appears to want to redirect it to staff, then, Alderwoman, your questions can be vetted to see. I believe the Milwaukee Milkmen won on a Wednesday, and it wasn't on a weekend, okay? And because they, Michael, you can correct me and nod if I'm correct.
What was the question, I'm sorry?
The final day that the Milkmen won the
We were out
championship.
of town, but we were having a viewing party, which I think is what disrupted.
Correct, was that on the 9th,
No, I think it was like 14th, 15th, something.
14th or 15th? So it was after the date of the 13th here, okay? But, Alderwoman, what specifically are you asking? You want to know the dates. The motion that Alderman Mayor is asking is that we investigate it. Do you want to support that motion? I mean, we can call the motion, but I don't have an answer for you at this point, but the answer could be obtained, okay, but not for this. Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Well, I'm a little bit confused, and I would have asked the question during citizen comment, but we typically don't go back and forth, although there was some of that tonight which wanted me to ask the question, but I held off because I knew it was on the agenda. But there was a comment from Mr. Mayor Zimmerman that he said he didn't want to pay for this twice. And so I'm confused on if there's a payment with the county one or this one, or if this is trying to offset the county one. So could someone clarify if this replaces that, or what was the thing about paying for it twice?
You know, we can,
That would
we can
require
ask
a-
Mr.
that-
Zimmerman then to
That would
come up.
require a,
Be-
Yeah, I'm
Is there a motion to allow Mr. Zimmerman to answer that question?
So moved.
Second.
I have a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And then any other
Against-
questions
okay,
you guys
motion
have, I'm happy to
passes.
answer them. So well, I'm not obligated to pay for anything. I have a contract with the city that allows me to have 79 decibel levels. That's my contract with the city. I want to get to the right answer. The only person, Dan, well, I appreciate what you're saying. You have never called me. You've never been to the site.
I don't think we're.
No,
need to
but
get
I
into
think
this.
it's context. I get to speak. You asked me to come up here and I get to.
But-
I get
To answer
But,
a question, not to
Michael-
So
argue with us.
No, the issue is, there's people trying to solve a problem. The mayor has experience here. He came up with a solution. He said, I need you to pay for it. I said, fine. If that's not good enough, somebody else come up with something. I met with the neighbors. You guys didn't. I met with the neighbors. We're trying to get to the right answer, and you guys are the obstacle. I said I'd pay for it. If you guys want different rules, then somebody else come up with them. You guys are the biggest obstacle to this right now. And it's not fair to the neighbors, and it's not fair to me as an operator.
Thanks, Mike.
Mark?
Alderman, well, I had Alderman Mayor,
Return to regular order of business.
yes, we'll return to regular order of business. Do I have a motion on that? Or just, can I have a motion to
So
return
moved.
to mesh?
Second,
Okay, I got a first and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so, Alderman Mayor, I had Alderman Barber back there raising his hand. Mike?
Mayor?
No.
Oh.
I said Alderman Barber.
Okay. I don't know why we can't go ahead with this as a way of making a correction. I don't understand. It seems to me this is an attempt to get us some immediate response to the neighbors' concerns. It's going to at least provide some more information that we have, and I can't see why we would negate this particular motion that's listed here. Why can't it be done? I mean, this would at least be an attempt to help. If we still have problems, I'm sure there's other things that can be done.
But I just don't, I couldn't support the motion because I think we should act on this. It's here, it's in hand, and I think it is an honest attempt to try to correct the situation. So that's my reasoning on it.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Barber. Alderman Nelson.
Well, Mr. Zimmerman showed up tonight and did say on record that he wants to fix the problem. So that's a big plus to do it. He said it. I'm taking him at his word. I believe he will. He's made some adjustments already. We've asked for other things in the past, and it's moving forward. I understand Alderman Mayor's concerns, and I think they're coming together. I'm not looking to be an obstructionist, but I want to make sure that you've got the owner of the establishment, we've got the representative of the area, we've got the neighbors here, but I'm looking at, you know, Mr. Zimmerman brought up a good point before, is it gonna be the county's gig, but to not pay for it twice? Absolutely, he's correct. 100% correct, Mr. Zimmerman. I wouldn't wanna pay for two things ever. But what's the direction tonight? Alderman Barber's correct too. We're here tonight, here to make something work. But I agree with Alderman Mayor, we want to make the right thing, do it once, and put it to bed.
Alderman Mayor behind me first, then Alderwoman Wilhelm.
To one of Alderwoman Hanneman's points, the contract, yes, it absolutely should have been put out for bid, I believe. Glenn was scolded in today's email for not putting something out to bid properly. It should go to bid regardless. Another thing about the study is it's going to be done now for the next 120 days in the off season. What is that going to show? It's going to be done by modeling. What is that going to show? That's not going to give them sound in the back of Dale's yard or in Dana's yard or any of the other neighbors who I have been around the neighbors many, many times, and I've heard the sound. If this would have been done when it should have been done in 2018, we would not be sitting here with an issue now tonight. It would have been fixed and solved. Let's fix it. We were all talking about fix the problem. Let's not be obstructionists and let's fix it.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Well, I'm going to make a few comments, and then I'm going to try to offer maybe something that we can all live with. I'm not sure if I can get to that point, but I usually hear from the city attorney, we need the standard form contract. This is not a standard form contract, so I would be really reluctant to move forward with this the way that it is. Also, there's no maximum set on this, and on page 67 in our packet, it said, plus, we shall pay for reimbursable expenses that are included. So any one of those items on page 67 will be reimbursable expenses, and there's no maximum on this. These costs are in addition to. I agree with the comment about the 120 days. They're not, there's no active games going on right now, so I'm not sure what exactly we're going to be checking for the sound. And then the alternative would maybe be a combination of what Alderman of the district, Alderman Mayor would like, and what this says. So the idea would be to stick with the original motion, because on the top of page 67, it says this is valid for 90 days. So if we bring it back in 40, we'll still have 50 more days if staff does the information and brings it back to us. We'll at that point have an option to go with a more detailed study. We'll have an option to have a standard form contract, and we'll still have the 50 days to accept this if we want to move forward. So that kind of meets a middle road for everyone, and it gives the citizens more information. It leaves the door open. It makes us clean up some of the questions and just gives us a little bit more time, because we obviously aren't having a lot of activity up there anyway.
Well, we have a motion on the table.
On the floor, yeah.
On the floor. We can take a vote. Should we take a roll call?
Look, I have a clarification.
Alderwoman?
I think that the motion, if we're going to try to leave the door open and clear up some of these, we might want to put an end date so we don't fall outside the 90 days for this. So I would ask the maker of the motion to consider a 40-day or something, time period where the staff report would come back to the council.
Well, you do realize by accepting the alderman's motion that you're agreeing to do nothing.
No, actually, what I heard was he was going to have the
Staff review.
staff, maybe the clerk could read back the motion, because I didn't hear do nothing. I heard study the information and bring it back.
Correct. So in the meantime, this motion is not a motion, so we're actually going to do nothing regarding this item.
Right, but we'll still.
Except for have staff review it.
But we'll still have the option to come back in this, and then we can get the standard form contract and everything else, and have additional information on what we might want.
And additionally,
include.
staff can prepare a comprehensive report and compare it to this for us. And I would have no problem putting a time frame on 40 days if that works out for staff. If staff is working diligently at it and 40 days comes up, I think we could probably extend that 10 or 20 days, and we would still be within the time frame as Alderwoman suggests. So what I'm looking for is a comprehensive plan proposal that we could put out to bid and contract for compared to this. And nothing is stopping Mr. Zimmerman from doing this now. He can do this anytime he wants. He could have done this for the last 7 years if he was so inclined. So nothing of what we do here is stopping him.
So that, you amended that motion. I will second the amendment to the addition of the 40 days.
Okay,
And then we.
Madam, why don't we take a roll call?
I had asked the motion to be read back.
Oh, okay. Let's have the motion read.
The original motion was Alderman Mayor moved to table a contract with Shen, Milsom, and Wilkie for sound consulting services at Ballpark Commons using $5,000 of general fund contingency appropriations for further staff review and preparation of a comprehensive proposal. Seconded by Alderman Nelson. There was an amendment to add and return prior to 40 days.
I seconded it.
Kristen seconded it.
Did she capture all the points that you needed?
The
in there?
original
'Cause
motion.
I didn't, you know,
Suspend the rules so Mrs. Zimmerman can talk.
No, let's just get this over with.
No, I was clarifying
Oh.
that we suspended the rules.
Oh, okay.
in the motion, he was.
Okay. Alder,
Just so it carries in there, a comprehensive plan, a comprehensive sound study will be prepared by staff in detail, ready to go out for bidding to a reputable company, whoever does that sort of thing.
Whoever does that.
Well, I think it's up to staff and not just some contact that we met at Walmart, which is what it sounds like in your write-up.
Let's not go there. Okay, come on.
It's up to you, Dan. Go ahead.
wait, I have city attorney, please.
And the city engineer's also raising
Yes.
his hand. I would guess that what he would say as this is a services contract, it is, and he just raised his thumb. It is not a public works contract, therefore it is not required to be let for bid.
I agree. Alderwoman Hanneman, you had one more or additional comment?
I did, because I'm unclear about what exactly we're asking staff to do if they don't necessarily have the data with which to do what we're asking them to do. Supposedly, based on what I'm reading here, that Shen, Milsom, and Wilkie has the data they need based on one visit. And I don't know the difference between that data and the data that staff has to work with to put together a comprehensive study, or what that would entail that we would ask an alternate company to do for us. I'm just,
Yes.
that's what I'm struggling with right now.
Okay. City engineer first for your input.
And maybe planning manager can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe staff has the expertise to do this. So we may have the data, but I don't know what to do with the data.
Alderwoman Wilhelm?
Well, I took the motion to mean, and maybe I'm wrong, I took the motion to mean that Alderman Mayor wanted staff to prepare a document that would be sort of like a contract, like a standard form contract. And it would include the points, not that he was saying, although there did need to be a clarification, I understood that it didn't need to go out for bid, because, you know, I knew the answer to that, but I think what's all missing here for all of us is, some of us weren't here. I was not here when that motion that was denied, the whole 79 decibels. It seems to me like we all should get on the page about what's in the documents, what we'd have agreed to, what we can do within those agreements without breaking agreements, and get all that in front of us and let staff prepare that for us and let us make a decision. You know, this option will still be here. Maybe there'll be additional noise events going on where we can capture additional items. But I think we're lacking pulling together all of the documents that this council needs to make the proper decision. Pieces are scattered all over the place. So why don't we allow our staff to pull the history together for us, look at what the decibels are, look at what the ordinances are, and then provide us the two options in that time period. That seems to be, I think, what would make the most sense. And I think his motion allows that, to do that, except for the part for bid. I think I would take that out, but.
So Alderwoman, you're asking the maker of the motion to amend his motion, and you'd like him to instruct staff to gather the PDD and all the facts that we have heard from the experts in the audience in regards to decibel readings.
No, not the experts in the audience, but from the staff documents
Well,
that are already prepared.
Our
So-
PDD agreement,
Yes.
okay?
Mm-hmm.
And because they've referenced certain points in the PDD.
And staff's reports
And
also.
staff's
Which
reports.
apparently I missed
So
that
you'd like
meeting.
staff to gather that and bring it to us
With two-
first,
With, well, with. two-
prior, along with a request
With two
for a motion to put this out for bid.
No, not to go out for bid.
Can I clarify a little bit here?
Well,
Not go out for bid, because we don't, he wants to put everything together so we can look at it and compare everything to make a decision between this item or a more comprehensive study. I think that's what he's trying to do.
That is what I'm trying to do. As far as going out for bid, I don't care if it goes out for bid or not. That would be down the road when we see what the proposal would be. What I'm asking for, and what I thought I said, was that staff would review this, not do a comprehensive plan, not do a comprehensive study, but put in place what's necessary for a comprehensive study, get us some pricing, go through all pertinent information, all documents, as Kristen was suggesting, that have come to us in the past, and lay this out for us. Pertinent documents, what a comprehensive study would be. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't be done in the next 120 days in wintertime. What are we measuring then? And furthermore, we don't even know if the meters are in the right place. A comprehensive study should tell us where those meters should go. We've heard over and over that there are issues with the meters. We don't know that because we have not had a comprehensive study by an objective party to do that. So I'm not suggesting staff do the comprehensive study and put it together for us. You're right, they don't have the information for that. What would it take for someone to get the information? And what would that cost?
City Attorney.
Perhaps Alderman Mayor can answer a question, and my question is, I understood your motion essentially to be that staff brings back whatever staff had already done back in 2018 or whatever it is that you were citing from.
That's certainly part of it. And the rationale for that, that's certainly part of the rationale for the entire process here.
And what else in addition to whatever staff did back when?
Staff refers to a comprehensive study should be done. They refer to that over and over in the material that was in the documents. What does that mean? What does that mean, and who can conduct such a study? And what would it take? What would it cost? When would it be done? I'm pretty sure, look, I won't keep repeating it. I'm pretty sure it won't be in winter. It'll be when the ballpark is active, during games, during events. That's when you would want to study the information, and you would want to study the locations of the meters and the entire situation. I don't know what that all takes. Staff could review the documents, see what was being looked at, what was being proposed, what should be done.
Okay, Alderman Barber.
I don't have an issue with what you're trying to propose. My issue is that this is something that's right here, right now, that can be looked at, it can be developed. This might be something as a first step to your study. But I still think this is something that we could act on tonight and at least have in place right now, and it doesn't have to involve 120 days, 190 days, who's gonna pay for it, who's not gonna pay for it, what's the cost gonna be. I think this is something right now that would benefit the community and the people out there that have the issues, and I think this should be acted on.
Alderwoman Wilhelm?
Well, I guess reading this item in detail, I don't think it gets the citizens anywhere near what they're asking for. I would be reluctant to just to go with this minimal thing when we don't have a standard contract. We don't know what the reimbursable expenses are going to amount to. It was pretty much, it's almost put together on a handshake. It would make more sense to have all the details. And planning staff should be able to pull up all the old records, get us the information, let us look through it, and still make this decision. And maybe this handshake deal, kind of loosely worded document, can be fleshed out just a little bit more at that point as well. If someone can explain to me exactly what we're getting for this $4,700, please do, because they're meeting privately with city leaders. They're conducting an initial site plan, which they say when they went out there and got some sound documents. And they're going to review the data from the audio monitors. Okay, this is sort of sounded like the quarry issue all over again, where they look at the blasting monitors and they go, yeah, they're blasting. It's just not very detailed. And we're not going to even get this back to us. It's going to be a private meeting with city leaders. The council's not going to hear about it. The residents aren't going to hear about it. This is not going to satisfy them if they can't even be part of it or involved or understand what the monitors say or any information. It's all privately done without the residents, without being done in the public. I'd like to have a more public process, and I think he lays it out. It's his district. I'm going to refer to the district alderperson. He's trying to do what he wants for the residents. It's not going to cost anybody anything at this point. No one's asking for anybody to put up any money. They're just asking to lay this all out in a detail so everybody up here understands it.
Alderman Nelson.
Just as long as this is getting more convoluted, but I would definitely ask, we've got a number of points on here, but Mr. Zimmerman, I believe, should be involved in this from the get-go. And I want that to be spelled out, so he has, I mean, if there's things that he's gonna be needed to do on his property, be involved with people accessing it, I mean, there has to be more input. If he wishes to be so involved, he should be involved. I mean, obviously, the company's gonna do what they're gonna do, but I prefer if it's up to him. If he wishes to be involved, he's not shut out.
Mr. Alderman Nelson, you are correct. People have to get onto private property, and it's property owned by Rock Ventures. So
There's no private property involved with the staff report.
I understand, but
Okay.
you still, okay. City planner, do you understand what's being asked of you? I want to make sure that city staff understands before you vote on this.
Is this thing on? Yes, it is.
It is.
So you want me to go back through and do basically what amounts to an archive search to come back and tell you exactly what we told you? When was that? When you quoted that one? 2018, okay. So you want me to come back and restate what was said then, plus what?
Contracts? Agreements?
I want to know what the context is for the data and information that you think we should be producing that wasn't produced in 2018. Because remember, a sound study conducted in 2018 would have happened before the stadium was built. So it wouldn't have also captured any of the noise from the current operations. So you still would have been operating under an assumption as to what would have been appropriate at the time. That being said, it also would have captured maybe how to design the sound system around a stadium as it's currently constructed.
Right, and it talks about proposed and expected facilities there as well, is what was talked about in that study. But what I'm looking for is not just a Band-Aid on the problem, let's fix the problem. What would it take to fix the problem? What would a comprehensive study of this situation look like? When should that occur? How should it occur? And who can do that, and what would it cost? I'm not looking for just looking at the meters and saying, okay, this is low, and tell the neighbors it was an airplane, don't worry about it, or it was a motorcycle going by, or it's traffic on 76th Street. We need to know what it is, and where the meters are, and where the meters belong. And are the meters adequate?
Hey, Dan, can I suggest that part of that is also look at what you're contractually obligated to? So we can form a decision together, a solution together.
Let's look at the PDD in reference to
Yeah.
the sound study. So we can pull out all those elements, and then staff, you can familiarize yourself with that PDD in reference to this issue. You can then vet it and provide the data to the council. And you would like this by the first meeting in November? Is there a date?
No, that's only 2 weeks away. We said 40, so
So you'd like it the first week in December?
Heath, what do you think you need? How much time?
We've got to just pull the PDD together.
I could probably get it to you by the first meeting in December.
Okay.
What
Take
was
it
it?
first.
Alderman, did you have a date?
First meeting in December,
I don't know.
it must be December 1st. That's a Tuesday, so it must be the 8th. It must be the 8th, because there's no Monday in the first meeting, first week. So
Okay.
December 8th.
December 8th.
And back to one comment for Mike. Yes, absolutely, Mike, you would be involved in the study and the practicalities of what's got to be done. But this is an objective person looking, and they're going to go in everybody's yard, or anybody who cares to show them their yard and show them the problem. So they're going to be investigating it all. And obviously you would be a player in that. As far as the contractual, yeah, we're not gonna be looking for spending an immense amount. I think it even said in 2018, a reasonable amount, so we saved money tonight. Maybe we can work together on that, but the point is, we've got to fix the problem.
So this is a data gathering item.
Correct.
Okay.
It is not
And it-
spending any money.
Right.
Not Alderwoman, Madam Clerk.
Just to clarify, it is December 1st. That is
It
the
is December
first
1st,
council meeting in December.
I thought that was a Tuesday.
Then it's
Without
December
a
It is a
Monday.
Tuesday.
Without a Monday, though.
The Monday's in November.
Alderwoman, oh, well, Alderwoman Wilhelm, are you done? Okay, Alderwoman Hanneman?
I guess I'd like to know along those lines how this proposed study would differ in context and scope from what the county is doing. Because I'm very concerned that we're just going to duplicate the efforts. And so by doing our study, does that in effect negate and saying or implying that we are preemptively rejecting any study that the county would present?
Put that in there.
Can I,
Well, let's have staff talk to Milwaukee County
yes,
and find out what's going on, so we're not duplicating efforts here. If Milwaukee County's gonna do it, then so be it.
Right.
But we'd like to know at whose expense,
Right.
okay? We don't want Milwaukee County sending us the bill.
Certainly not. And I don't want Milwaukee County spending money for one, and then we or Mr. Zimmerman spending for another one. And then what if we have the conundrum that the studies come back with opposite and opposing recommendations?
Correct. Alderwoman,
I think the data gathering will help both the county and the city and the developer and the residents all get on the same page. I think it's time that we just gathered it all and laid it all out.
and one last point,
Alderman Mayor.
not to kick a dead horse, but Heath, it certainly is, probably makes sense to not reinvent the wheel. Speak to your counterparts at Milwaukee County, find out where their study is, what they're looking for, and maybe some joint effort could be put together in that effort. And I certainly agree, we're not gonna do the same thing twice. That was part of my fear with this study that was talked about tonight, that it would be a study, but it wouldn't really solve the issues that we need solved. And we would end up just doing it again.
So, Alderman, you're asking that this be tabled until the first meeting in December, December 1st, and that staff will work with the developer and obtain,
Well, the developer comes
the-
later after we would talk about the study, what the study would be. What he needs to do is figure out what the study should be and how one goes about doing a study.
so you're looking to gather the information from our internal documentation.
Right.
And gather all the facts.
Yep.
So, and then we
We
will.
would work with the neighbors and work with Mike, actually, after the study is begun, after a study's commenced, either by us or by county. They're gonna be, either way, they're gonna be working with the neighbors or with Mike.
Okay, I had a first and a second. Oh, Madam Clerk, did you want to read that over one more time?
Well, there is an amendment.
Correct.
Which is a separate, and the amendment was to return to the Common Council no later than December 1st, 2020. And the amendment was to the original motion, which I did not, I'm going to tell you I summed it up because otherwise it would be 4 pages long.
Right.
And the details are on record. So Alderman Mayor moved to table the contract with Shen, Milson, and Wilkie for sound consulting services at Ballpark Commons using $5,000 of general fund contingency appropriations for further staff review to recommend what would be needed to be put in place for preparation of a comprehensive study. And that would now be amended to say, and return to the Common Council no later than December 1st, if the amendment is approved, and then the motion as amended is approved.
Okay,
So we need to vote on the amendment.
we have to, well, we have to vote on the amendment first. Oh, wait. Alderman Barber.
I'm just asking for clarity on whether that timeline is doable, given the limited staff you have and the number of jobs that you're working on right now. I don't want this taking away from other areas, and I just want to be sure that you're comfortable with any kind of date we're setting here, because I think this is something that, what is proposed, what you're tabling, is something that could be done right now as a correction, and I just want to know from you whether it's possible or not for you to do this.
I think we can make it happen.
Cool. Okay,
Okay, so
amendment.
on the amendment of December, the date of providing the information to the council by December 1st meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? The motion passes. 6 in favor, none against.
On the main motion.
On the main motion, to table this for staff to gather all the data and present, and represent it. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? The motion passes 6 in favor, none against.
Thank you for getting us through that, Alderman Dan.
Mr. Mayor, I'll pass it back to you.
Well, that was fun.
Thank you. We enjoyed ourselves so much.
Okay. Item G4, no action is required, but I want to recognize our public health officer, please. Talk about, I always get this wrong. Live, Red, Unite, whatever. You got a red dress on.
Light Unite Red Week? Is that on?
Glenn. Glenn. Other way. One more. There you go.
Thank you. This is my first Common Council meeting, so I'm happy to be here. Yes. Yep, so this week is
What's your name?
My name is Ellen Henry. I am the Drug-Free Community Coalition Coordinator for Volition Franklin, housed within the Health Department. This week is Light and Unite Red Week, a week that shines a light on the dangers as well as the importance of substance misuse prevention in Milwaukee County. Typically, this awareness raising week is in January, but given the COVID-19 pandemic, it was rescheduled and it will now take place this week in conjunction with Mental Health Illness Awareness Week. So we were just asking the Common Council to recognize Light and Unite Red Week and the importance of substance misuse prevention in the city and community of Franklin.
Questions for Ellen? Did we do the tree this year?
Unfortunately, we did not. However, we will look forward to doing it for Red Ribbon Week at the end of October.
Red Ribbon Week.
Yes, Red Ribbon Week is also a substance misuse prevention week that highlights youth prevention.
Okay.
I have a question.
Alderman Wilhelm.
Do you have any more of those masks?
I do. I have 20 red Volition Franklin branded
Well,
masks
it would be
available.
great advertisement if we could make
Yes.
use of those.
Mhm.
so.
Any city official that would like a red mask is more than welcome to.
You stick one in my box,
Yes,
I'll
thank you.
advertise for you.
Wait
All
a
right,
minute.
thank you so much.
You got a Franklin police mask?
I'm sure you could get one if you wanted to.
Man. Okay, thank you, Ellen.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
sir.
And for those of you that do Facebook and newsletters, Ellen will get you the proclamation and other good things to put out. So
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Great.
And next year, we're going to do Prostate Cancer Awareness Month in September.
All right,
Put it on your calendar, please, Ellen.
I will.
There's several of us that would like
Yeah,
that.
we missed Lyme awareness too this year.
Thank you, Ellen. Appreciate it.
Mayor?
Alderman Barber, the representative of Volition and the Health Department.
I'm proud to be a member of Volition and the work you do. I support it 100%. And anything else I can do, let me know. I'm glad to see you took the mask. I want one of them. I'm wearing a shirt now. But keep up the good work, and I'm especially pleased that there's two components of this, one is an adult and one is a youth component. And working together with the youth has been a big reward over the years, and I'd like to see this move forward and everybody become involved with it as much as you can, because it's something for our community. Thank you.
We are currently having virtual meetings, and I'd love to invite any council members that would like to attend. You're more than welcome. So thank you.
You should just go ahead and put the alderman, well, talk to the clerk about how you notice it, but just put the alderman on your distribution list,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be happy to join if they can. Thank you, Ellen.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on. Item G5 is a resolution to acquire water main easement from 9720 and 9750 South Oakwood Park Drive.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The chief would like to be added to this call, so let's do this. While the clerk calls and adds you to the,
I was gonna let him know.
Can we just make the motion?
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
all those in favor of the motion to revise the job description signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Why don't you just text them and say you won. G7 is a resolution to make a 2021 grant application request for trees.
Move to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G8, Environmental Commission recommendation to refer the Buckthorn thing back to them.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Buckthorn, by the way, is a hot item in 6th District, isn't it, Alderman? Hot. Hot.
A rather sticky one.
G9. G9 is a review of status of billboards on WISDOT-owned properties. This is Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Well, it was actually although the action sheet doesn't reflect it, there was a motion that referred this to staff. But I do have an update, but I'll wait to hear from staff before the owner of the property sent an email.
Ms. Berg.
She's coming.
Okay, so good evening. As you may recall, at the 2nd August meeting, we had some discussion about beautification along 27th Street, specifically as it relates to the double billboard and single billboard that are on the property that was owned by WISDOT at the last meeting. WISDOT had put the property up for sale, and the big question was, what do we do about these billboards? Do we have any options to assist with a private buyer, and can the easements be purchased? Can the billboards be removed, et cetera, and so forth? So Marion, Heath, and I, and Jesse have all kind of been working back and forth trying to figure out what's what and what the options might be. Very recently, so Marion pulled the easements, which showed that, sure enough, Eller Corporation, which is the umbrella for Clear Vision, did indeed have easements that were renewed in 2020, and the property was since purchased by a private party who is also interested in having the billboards removed and has indicated that he would be interested in purchasing the rights to those easements and make the billboards go away. He gave me permission to contact Clear Vision, which I did, and I received a return call from a member of their team who had to go back and do some additional research, get up to speed on what the easements were, what the company's position was on selling those assets, what the price might be, et cetera, and so forth. And this all happened towards the end of last week. And as of 5 o'clock this evening, I had not received a follow-up call. So the very long answer to the question and why we couldn't be more specific on the council action sheet is because we didn't know what information we were going to have come this evening. The answer is we're working on it. We should have some additional information, hopefully by the next council meeting or a council meeting coming up in the very near future. But we have been working on it, so that's the short answer. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have around any of that. And I know Jesse has reviewed the easements, so we've got his legal expertise in the mix. And Heath and his team have also been researching the status of what's what. So between the three of us, we're trying to figure that out.
Alderman Willem.
Okay, just for the knowledge of the rest of the aldermen. At the corner of 27th and Rawson are the two easements they're talking about, pretty much one of the main entrances into our city. One of the widest roads we have, biggest traffic pattern ability. And so on the two easements are 4 billboards. And if you've been by there, a lot of times the billboards, the paper's falling off, they just don't look good and they're not maintained. So Kelly, thanks so much for that update. That was really helpful. And I'm sorry that you weren't copied on this, but it came so late that the clerk just gave it to us in our places. This letter is all in front of you. And Jim Taylor, I'll just read it because it's, it's probably easiest. So from Jim Taylor, I am the new owner of the corner where the unsightly billboards are located on the entranceway to the city of Franklin, Rawson and 27th, northwest corner. We are also the owners of the adjacent property to the north where Oscar's Frozen Custard is located. My wife and I started and owned all the Oscar's Frozen Custard stands since 1984. It's our life plan to pass Oscar's down to our 2 boys and our nephew who have been running them. With that in mind, we are studying the billboard situation and seeing if we can get rid of them or buy out the unsightly billboards. This is no easy task and will require a proper path to be taken. I have just become aware that the Department of City of Franklin would like to put, and I think he means the Tourism Commission, would like to put a welcome sign abutting or potentially on my property. There is no immediate necessity for this sign. Franklin will not be damaged if the sign gets delayed. The sign showed is really nothing that jumps out and makes you say, oh, Franklin is upscale. It's not state-of-the-art or beautiful. Please slow down and make me aware, and let's get what's good for the long term. I am not saying my wife and I are unnecessarily against your entrance sign. I am saying we, the city staff, and the city staff need to come up with the best plan possible for the site. It might take the city being on the same thought process as I am for me to succeed in getting the shared desired out of removing the billboards. City staff, the Common Council, will be working with our extended family for the next 50 years. Please table the sign idea until we can work out a mutual agreement, basically to get rid of the billboards. So I think he was under the understanding that this item was on the agenda for some moving forward with this entrance sign. So I apologize if he kind of got that from some, I'm not really sure we got that from, but.
The council action sheet in August actually had a heading that talked about gateway, and
Oh,
so
okay,
I think
that's
it
right.
created some
I'm sorry.
confusion, which is part of why I removed it and placed the focus squarely on the billboards.
Okay, that
for,
makes sense.
for our discussion this evening.
Okay, so obviously now, you can get a copy of that, and then you'll know to work with them with your tourism commission, and if we can all try to work and find a solution. I don't know if it's gonna take a joint effort or what, but these billboards have been unsightly for years, and
Yep.
the only option it looks like is going to be somehow to buy them out. He's willing to try to help, but they've been there so long.
Yeah,
So,
so now I've got the contact name and number for the guy at Clear Vision, so if he hasn't given me a call back by the middle of, end of day tomorrow, sometime on Thursday, I'll give him another call.
Okay.
I'm just giving him a couple days to get back to me. And then just to address the signage that's going at Rawson and 27th Street, so to refresh your memory, there's already kind of like a monument sign there. It's got some hardscape stonework on either side, and it's just a flat panel that's being supported by the stonework on both sides. What's that, Glenn?
With a bench.
Yes, with a bench, thank you. I'd heard something totally different. So what's gonna happen there is we're just gonna put a new panel over the existing old panel where it's green with the big flower that's kind of used along the
You
medians.
mean the Oak Creek O?
Yeah.
You're gonna
Thank you.
replace the Oak Creek O?
So we're just gonna put the new Franklin branding over the top of that. So it's not a huge expense. And when it comes time, if there's a development project that requires that we relocate it, the Tourism Commission will have no problem doing that. This is not the most expensive place that they're putting a sign, and because it's really just a facade replacement of the sign piece itself, it's a relatively easy and inexpensive address for gateway signage at that location.
Just as long as he knows what's going on when it happens,
Yep.
because you'd be going on his property. But I don't want to get off too far on the subject, but there is the guy across the street who was offered the same thing with the DOT parcel, and he's looking. And if that is a better, less, distracting area, if we can't get rid of these billboards, that might be something to consider in the future as well. But the other part that I would like to see if staff could address is, what, if we can't get rid of them, what kind of enforcement can we have that we can get them to take them and replace when they start peeling and falling off?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And when I spoke with the gentleman at Clear Vision, he actually brought up, before I got the chance to ask the question, that they would be willing to sell. I don't remember if he said sell them or his exact words, but basically he had to go back and find out what the price was to make them go away. And then if that doesn't work, we can always look into what the legalities are in terms of blocking the view with a development happening on that property.
It says, the easement says you can't block the view of them. That's the other thing. So the property gets pretty much worthless with those easements.
Billboards are tough. There's
Yeah.
state laws that protect them, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
We're
think
waiting
we've spent
in.
a lot of time on this one that we don't really need to spend because there's not a lot we can do about it.
Yeah. If we make some additional determinations, or as we get additional information, we will bring it back to council and give you another update.
Okay, thanks much.
G11 is Finance Committee recommended changes to the 2021 budget.
G10.
I was hoping to move forward. So here we go. G10 is resolution authorize a state municipal maintenance agreement for West Loomis Road path. That would be from Highway 100 to 51st Street, Mr. Morrow. Or somebody make a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Question.
Alderman Wilhelm.
So it's my understanding that the city of Franklin will be putting out the money for this path?
Yes.
Okay. So
And
this would be
plowing.
really similar to the state makes the municipality pay for the pedestrian access, just like the county makes the city pay for things like the College Avenue.
Depends on the location. So like on Lover's Lane, they're building it and we'll have to maintain it. In this situation, because it's different, I'll just say different, we actually have to pay for the construction of it also.
And we have to maintain it, and plow it, and salt it, and fix it. And this is one of those issues when you talk to a candidate for public office, you ask them, I share your opinion, but this is one of those things where you ask them, what are they gonna do to change the state law and policy? Alderwoman Hanneman.
It's a community benefit.
I'd just like clarification. After having gone through the budgets over the last couple of weeks, is that $466,000 in this year's budget? I did not see it in the
No.
capital outlay request for next year's budget.
And it's not. It's depending on when the project will be constructed, and they gave me a very wide window. I believe it was 2024 to possibly maybe as late as 2027. So we've got a few more years before it'll see our budget. And it is eligible for park impact fees.
Is there a motion?
One quick question.
Alderman Mayor?
Glenn, what exactly is the route for this along Loomis to 51st? Where does it hit 51st Street?
So the road project goes all the way to 51st Street. The trail project would actually end at Rawson. And if this was discussed a few months ago when we talked about this issue.
Okay, that makes more sense. Move to approve.
It's already been moved and seconded, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G11 is the Finance Committee recommended changes to the 2021 budget. I've been getting regular reports from the Director of Administration. I very much appreciate the engagement of the Finance Committee. It's what I was hoping for, and it's what I'm getting, and it's great. I appreciate that. Madam Director of Administration. Or
Finance Director is going to walk us through the requested changes.
So after the council heard the mayor's introduction of the budget, it referred the budget to the Finance Committee. Those of you who are on the Finance Committee know that the Finance Committee met 4 times since your last meeting. And on page 116 of your packet are the recommended changes from the Finance Committee for the budget. I'll walk through those very briefly. Within the general fund, we're made aware of an additional $75,000 worth of shared revenue coming from the state. The committee recommends that be added to the budget, but that $75,000 of landfill siting revenue be transferred to other funds, essentially making no changes to the general fund. There were some allocated costs that were being made to the TIDS, so the Finance Committee is recommending small additions to administrative expenses in TIDS 5, 6, and 8, as listed on that page. Within the Capital Outlay Fund, the police squad video replacement that was not included in the mayor's recommended budget has been added back in with some landfill siting revenues to support it. In the Street Improvement Fund, the city was notified very recently of aids in excess of what was originally estimated by staff. So those aids are being recommended to be added to the Street Improvement Fund. The Capital Improvement Fund, the committee is recommending the removal of the 116th Street Trail construction project and the related park impact fee resource to support that, but that landfill siting revenue that was removed from the general fund, $51,500 of that be added back to the capital improvement fund, and that the project to begin the study of an addition to the highway building be returned back to that fund. Within the special revenue funds, there's a number of changes recommended that are listed there. The most significant one is the addition of the solid waste revenue coming from the fee that would be identical to last year's fee. And within other funds, the self-insurance fund did not have an original budget included in the document provided to you at the last meeting. It was provided to the Finance Committee, and they are recommending the resources and expenditures for the self-insurance fund be added.
Now, Peggy, you and I had talked about another fund, adding another fund with some funds from the transportation aids relative to advanced technologies for the police department.
We did talk about that. That was after the committee was done. So what we could do is when we do our capital planning for our 5-year capital plan that we all talked about for 2022 and further, we will go ahead and split that
As long
out.
as it's on your radar.
Right, it definitely is. And then again, just to thank everyone on the committee, we had some really good committee discussions. We had every department head came in and presented their budget, and I think that was really helpful for the committee to understand, what the programs are and how they're being done. Paul did a really good job of walking the committee through how the budget works and how it's put together, with 400 pages here. It's not the easiest document to navigate. So I thought the process was really good, and we really got a lot of ideas, perhaps not necessarily just for this budget, but different ideas that the committee gave us to go forward and how we should check into some different things. And we talked about infrastructure and capital planning a lot.
And one of the items is that 5-year capital plan that we're going to be working on. So I thought it was a really good process.
And again, I'm really happy with what I've heard. So Alderman Wilhelm.
I have to say it was really well done when I was listening on the phone. I participated in, I think, almost every one of the meetings by phone. A couple of them, the volume and stuff wasn't as good as others, but I learned a lot, and I really appreciated being on that. As someone who's been on the finance quite often in the past, it was nice to, go through the budget like that. But for the aldermen that weren't participating and aren't on the finance committee, you probably don't need to be reminded that I am very interested in having Marquette Avenue move forward, especially since the council had voted to do such and put this out for bid. So I had asked the committee to consider securing the funds that are in this year's budget, and especially given the fact that the 116th Street was completely funded in line items, and it's not moving forward, I thought that that would be an easy request to use some of the funds in addition to the funds that were there. But it was the suggestion from staff that wait until the bids came out. I just learned this evening when I came in here that Glenn said he got some additional changes and that he will be uploading the bid documents. The bid is apparently already out in the paper, but the documents still need to be loaded up. I'm not totally clear on what those changes, so I just want to make sure that the two developers that were told they would have that opportunity to see those, understand what those changes were. We don't need to discuss that here. But I noticed in the line items in the, when we go through the budget later on in the monthly report, the line items for the Marquette are still there. And I would really like your consideration to uphold the previous two motions to help this issue out, because we are losing the tax base for the two developers that have worked very hard to help us get this project done. So this is the closest we've come in 20 years to get Marquette through and get that traffic out of the neighborhood and help with that congestion issue and get the development projects going. So I'll just leave it at that and hope for future meetings when we can look at moving some funds around. Thank you.
Motion to amend.
Second.
Does not require roll call.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G12. There are an ordinance to codify the municipal code sections and clean it up and make it right.
Motion to approve.
My compliments, Glenn, to you and your staff for fixing this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Similarly, G13, an ordinance to modify the municipal code for restrictions on the north side of Cortez Circle.
So moved.
Alderman Mayor made the motion?
Yeah. No, John did.
Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G14 is authorization DPW staff. There's a new council action at your table, at your places. This is to go to bid.
Authorize staff.
Second.
All those in favor to authorize to go to bid, signify by saying. Let's try it again. All those in favor to go to bid, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G15 is an authorization to sell used equipment, surplus equipment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Let's try it again. All
Is there a
those in-
motion? I have a motion to approve.
Second.
Authorization, okay, now we got it. Now we got it. Sorry, it's my fault, I apologize.
Mayor?
Alderman Wilhelm.
the second item on here is the motion just the top one? Because the second one looks like they want to just do it continuously without coming to council, because it says they would like permission to use this, and then it says, providing the council with the results review after
The Alderwoman
auction
is
closed.
absolutely correct. Let's back up. Let's withdraw the motion. Who made the motion?
Alderman Nelson?
I'll back it off my second.
I'll take it off.
Okay, so considering that the Alderwoman read this appropriately and I didn't, would somebody care to offer the motion, if they so choose, to allow DPW to auction surplus continuously?
So move.
Second.
Okay, everybody considered that?
Yeah.
All those in favor of the motion to allow DPW to auction continuously, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Wait a minute.
Before you announce motion carried, there was already a motion,
It was withdrawn.
so the first part of the motion doesn't exist.
That's correct. That's correct. Motion was withdrawn by Alderman Nelson, and the second also withdrew. Mr. City Attorney.
I didn't catch it, but I understood the Alderwoman, I understood the Alderwoman's point to say not authorize it all the time, and I could be wrong, but that was my read, that
Wait a
was
minute,
my
rewind that
read
tape.
on it, and I assumed, never assumed, that she just wanted to authorize the 14 listed
That's what I
But
surplus
she didn't
equipment.
make the motion, Alderman Barber made the motion to authorize.
Well, that
Eh.
seemed to be in reaction to what the Alderwoman said.
Well, that's true, however, I did pause and say, consider that before I called for the action. So,
I just want to know if,
and I still haven't announced the result.
well, I just, typically I wouldn't have any problem, but there's less oversight, and I'm not sure what big benefit this comes, you know, I don't know, maybe I kind of said it because I wanted to clarify that we weren't doing this and this, and we said, no, we weren't, and then we backed up, and then we did it. So, is this a great idea? I don't know.
So let me see if I can fix this, okay? So your motion was with the understanding that DPW will send an email every time they auction something, so that the common council can know that, Mr. City Engineer.
An email?
So with that, the motion carries. Mr. City Engineer understood that. Okay, so we'll have a little
I'm
oversight.
totally unclear. Please clarify.
They will, they'll let us know when they do it.
But not ask.
That's correct. They will do it and let us know.
Well, I suppose if it's not working out, we can always bring it back and change it.
We've been known to do that, you know.
Yes, I just want them to know this is, you know, we're going to look at this maybe as a trial basis, and hopefully it works just great.
Exactly.
Okay.
Item G16 is approval of purchase and installation of audiovisual equipment as well as programming of the same to be used in the council chambers, hearing room, and, Madam Clerk.
So Alderman Nelson withdrew his first part of that motion,
Correct?
which means,
There was no motion on the floor. Then Alderman Barber made the
so
motion.
do they need or do they have approval to sell the items listed for
Or-
this meeting, since that policy didn't exist before you made the motion?
Well, they have them.
It's being made more difficult than it is, but. I
They
mean,
have
that's-
approval to go ahead now and list that equipment because it's now approved that they can go ahead and intermittently
Okay.
sell equipment. So
All
go
right.
ahead, right? Right? Yes. Yeah, okay, G16 is to approve additional AV equipment for this room and for the hearing room.
So moved.
And
I have a question.
and we're gonna buy it at Walmart. Alderman
Is
Wilhelm.
that serious?
No.
Given the fact that we just had a new health order, and I'm having a cough here, so, which is why I wasn't even gonna be here, but. Yeah, I have an N95 mask on, plus a mask over the top. You'll be okay. My point was, we're gonna have a public hearing coming up, and we don't have the ability to do this. I don't know how long this is gonna take. So can we move this forward quicker somehow?
This is going forward as soon as you consider it, and if it's approved, they will begin ordering the equipment, and their plan is to have it installed by the end of the month.
Great. Okay. Did we vote?
Was there a motion?
There was none of that.
There was a motion and a second.
I didn't hear it. Okay, good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G17 is approval, and this was popular on the internet.
Yes, it was.
Approval of the installation of touchless plumbing fixtures, et cetera, using CARE Act. In the amount of $24,900. Alderman Wilhelm.
I've had some disabled people ask me about the disability for automatic doors on the bathroom. And I have to go get a drink, so consider that.
Yes,
So
Madam Director
we,
of Administration.
we were trying to consider everything that we could, and I just need you to understand that this money has to be spent by November 6th. So we are on a time frame. There's a lot of those parts and pieces that are not available in short order. That was one of the items we couldn't get in short order, was the automatic door openers. That's not to say we can't do something in the future, it just is that we can't do it with these funds that need to be spent in the next 30 days.
Motion to
Automatic light
authorize.
switches.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Did you vote aye, Alderman Wilhelm?
Yes, you did.
I voted aye, I was hoping for the doors, but.
Request for items G18, request for approval of the purchase of additional Badger books in the amount of $21,500.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. G19 is recommendation for 2021 employee benefit-related coverage, carriers, premium shares, including health insurance, stop-loss coverage, wellness, health and wellness supplementary programs, and dental insurance changes.
So moved.
Second.
All those, let's do a roll call on this one. Madam Clerk.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye.
Alderman Mayor.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderman Barber.
Aye.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Motion carries, 6 ayes, no noes, no absence, no abstentions. By the way, conversation with the Business Park Consortium leads me to say that this nice healthcare program that the Director of Administration came up with is garnering some interest in the business park. It's a unique program that may get some legs, so thank you for coming up with that. Alderman Dandria.
Just to add one more fact. For those of you that weren't in the finance meetings, review of the budget, you guys probably have looked through it. You'll notice that the savings that were in budget line items for departments played a very significant role in regards to getting this budget in line. So you did a great job in putting this together to make our budget process a little easier.
It's definitely a team effort between Paul, Dana, and myself, along with our consultant. We put a lot of work into it, but I think it's going to be something really good for the city.
Most definitely. Thank you.
Hey, you got to quit complimenting her, though. Her head's getting big.
I won't let her go to her head. She understands where I want her to go next year.
Yeah, she does, and I've been hearing about it. G20 is the August financial report. Any highlights, Mr. Ratzenberg?
The only highlight I would provide the council is that in prior months, we noted that the landfill siting revenues took a significant unfavorable twist in terms of revenue. Since that point in time, the picture has gotten a little clearer for the current year. And while we amended the budget to anticipate $2.1 million of landfill siting revenues, it now would look that we will receive more than that, maybe as much as an additional $200,000. In each of these reports, I have been asking council for direction on where they would like those additional or those resources to be received. I again ask the council for any direction on where the additional resource for landfill siting revenues might be received.
Let's move on to H1.
Well,
I
this
see
is,
her. We know exactly what she's going to say.
well, no, you don't.
Alderman Wilhelm.
It's related, you're right, but,
It's like clockwork. I mean, go
well,
ahead.
you know what? I'll just keep hammering it. When you're done listening to it, then maybe it'll finally get done. I don't know. But I was going to take you to page 197. And when I was under the Public Works, there's the Marquette Avenue, the 50th Street, the couple of other sections for this, and the $100,000 that was part of the $700,000 was, I believe, backed by landfill siting fees.
That is correct.
So now that is actually there, so now there actually is the whole 700,000 there.
Again, as I mentioned in my opening comments, we have 4 months to go, and it appears that it will be received. So it's not there yet, but it is likely to be there.
Okay, and then that also goes for some of the other backing for what the 49th to the school, the 50,000, and then the 50th Street, which is the 100,000. So if we combined all of those, if there's money to back them, we're getting up there close to 9 for this, so. I'm just really hopeful, Paul, really hopeful that you're gonna help me out here and work this out. Come on.
Item H1, licenses. Alderman Nelson.
Can we take the Hill Has Eyes separately?
Sure, Alderman Nelson.
Approve the first 3. Fourth one, Rachel, hold for appearance. Last one, approved.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Hills is ayes. Alderman Nelson. Or whoever.
Yeah, we had a motion to approve for that? We're recommending approval for that.
Is there a second?
Comments?
Sorry.
The recommendation for approval is as per the action sheet. Is that correct, Alderman Nelson?
That is correct.
And Alderwoman Nelson, Alderwoman Hanneman. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Madam Clerk? Yes, I gotta do this right, though. Madam Clerk, you had something?
I already said it, you agreed.
Okay. So, Alderman of the District, Alderman the Mayor.
I think we're playing Russian roulette with this as it is. This defies logic. However, I understand the need to get business going. I will vote to approve this if we require the health officer to inspect the event each night during the event. If this were an emergency where the fire department, where the incident commander, the fire chief, or his designee would certainly be inspecting the grounds during the event. If it was a police incident, police would be inspecting it. It is a health crisis, it's a health emergency. We have our health officer as the incident commander for that emergency response. I believe she needs to be present, or her designee, at each of the nights during the event at some point, and then report back to us of her findings.
Alderman Wilhelm.
So is that a suggestion to the motion, or do we want to act on that at all?
Well, why don't you make a comment, and we'll go back and.
Okay. At the licensing meeting, I had to leave because I had another meeting and staff was calling me on the phone and, so I didn't, get to participate in the end results of my suggestion. That, one of the suggestions that evening was that we apply the case burden rate of 125 cases over the last 14 days using the latest update numbers as of 5 p.m. on Thursdays prior to the event. And what that all means is, I think we're sitting at 80-something right now for that number. What it means is if you take 14 days and you add up the total cases over 2 weeks, if it hits 125, that you're in the red zone. This is what the schools are using, this is what the Harvard case uses, this is what everybody is using as the limiting factor where it's just too dangerous to move forward. And so I had asked that we consider applying the case burden rate as the Harvard model.
More discussion?
Alderman Nelson.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So if we were to ask the Courtney Day to show up, so we're going to be now paying her staff member in overtime to go and check this out? I guess what I'm looking at is, would it be reasonable if we asked her or her designee to show up one of the 2 days? You know, I mean, and she can pick the days, so it's not like we're not gonna tell, if the goal here is to verify compliance, I think a reasonable check to this would be, you know, one of the 2 days, not both, but.
I think between her and her staff, they should be able to make an appearance if they plan ahead. It's only 8 nights altogether. I do believe that's part of their job, and if we have to pay them overtime for it, then so be it. We want the event to go on, we want it to be successful, we want it to be safe. We want to ensure the safety of everyone there.
And the clerk is working overtime all the time.
Alderman Nelson, you do have the floor.
Okay, so I would amend my motion to ask Courtney Day or her designee to appear at this event, and that's all I would do to amend my motion.
During the event. In other words, not to inspect the property prior to the event.
Okay, was your request to have somebody from either Courtney Day or her designee come during the event?
At some point during the event, not
Yeah.
to stay for the entire event, but be there
At some
during-
point, make an appearance during the event to confirm compliance.
Correct, during the hours of the event,
During the hours of the event to confirm compliance.
yes.
That would be my only thing I'm willing at this point, unless you guys want to debate more, to make that.
All right, say it again though, please. So I can write it down.
Well, in addition to this,
The clerk has it.
simply requesting Courtney Day or a member of her staff appear during the event each day, just during the event.
Each day during the event when it's occurring,
That's what Alderman Mayor's requesting, correct?
correct.
Mr. Mayor?
To confirm compliance.
To confirm compliance with current health orders. That's it.
And Alderwoman Hanneman, you made the second, is that,
Mike's got his hand up.
do you concur? And Alderwoman Hanneman concurs. Alderman Barber, Alderman Dandria.
With the latest ruling that came from the governor today about the 25% of capacity, how does that play into this as a public meeting and a public entertainment at this point? And is that a consideration that we need to be worried about, or is that going to be the owner's worry at this point to make sure that he's in compliance with the 25% rule now? And how do we, has that thought come up at all in the discussion?
that was a specific topic of conversation with the health officer and I this evening. The governor's order was inside buildings only. Okay? Alderman Dendria, Alderman Nelson, Alderman Wellham.
I just want to be assured by the people that were on the commission that you're comfortable with the work that the health department, Courtney Day did with the Rock and the representatives, and that you guys are very comfortable with the protocols that are all set up. Because several of us weren't there. So you're asking for our support. I'm going to support your recommendation to move forward on this event. So I want to make sure that you guys are wholeheartedly backing this decision to move forward. And you're comfortable with the protocols that are going to be put into place.
Yes, short answer, I am. And again, to remind everyone of the outdoor open air event, and I am confident with Courtney Day's ability and her staff's abilities to ensure that safety. So yes, that's why my motion stands.
Thank you.
I think that answer Alderman Barber's question, they're only going to be letting in so many people at a time in groups. They've sold their tickets in different slots, so that will help with that, the amount of people coming through at the same time. I have a little bit of concern about the tent. I don't know how tents apply for this, but I'm much more comfortable with the addition to the motion with the health officer making some checks, because without that, I would be less comfortable. And I think that I still would like the community burn rate, but I don't seem to be getting much support on that. I don't know why we wouldn't want to do that, but I'll just leave it at that.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
I too am comfortable going over the mitigation plan with The Rock and with Courtney. They've worked at length, and to address Alderwoman Wilhelm's concern about adding the community burden rate, that was brought up in the committee meeting, and Ms. Day stressed the fact that if our community got to that level, a lot more would be shut down at that point in time.
Clarify, that's because I said it wrong, and the way I said it came out way bigger than it was. That's why. So I just want to clarify that. So I said it incorrectly. I said a 14-day average. That's much different than the community burn rate. It's not an average, it's a total. So I used the wrong word. I re-listened to the tape. So I can imagine why she said that once I said that, because that would.
Let Alderwoman Hanneman finish.
But Ms. Day felt that that was not needed in the motion in and of itself, because if we reached a community burden rate, things would have been shut down on a much broader scale prior to hitting that point. And so I'll defer to her expertise on that.
On the motion, Mr. City Attorney.
Just note that the motion says request versus direct the health officer or designee. And number two, my thought is the health officer or departmental designee as emergency duties. And there might be an intention to go inspect the premises, but there might be an emergency that doesn't allow for that. So I just thought I'd put that on the record.
I'll amend my motion. Do we want to say direct
Oh.
the technical changes by the city
Now
attorney?
it's up to you.
Yes.
So it's your second.
What is the amendment?
Direct versus refer, or something like that.
With the
Request, direct versus request.
I bet you, if the nun in second grade didn't give you homework, you raised your hand and reminded me.
Yeah, but I was always called on. I did not raise my hand.
Teacher, you forgot to give the homework.
Alderman Mayor had a.
Call for the motion.
Alderman Mayor.
So it would be direct with the understanding that should an emergency situation arise, obviously we understand that she may have to respond elsewhere.
That's correct. That's my motion.
That could be, but-
On the amendment, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, Mr. Wessolowski? Hearing none, motion carries. On the main motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hopefully someone tells her that she has that obligation.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Vouchers and payroll. Is there a motion approving city vouchers on any date October 1st, 2020, in the amount of $2,054,769.64, and payroll dated September 25th, 2020, in the amount of $413,140.10, and payments to the various payroll deductions in the amount of $438,912.56, plus city matching payments, and estimated payroll of October 9th, estimated at $400,000, and various payroll deductions estimated at $230,000, plus city matching payments, and property tax disbursements with the ending date of September 30th in the amount of $7,970.60.
So moved.
Madam Clerk.
Alderman Nelson.
Aye.
Alderman Bartlett.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hanneman.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wilhelm.
Aye.
Alderman Mayor.
Aye.
Alderman Dandria.
Aye. Motion carries, 6 ayes, no noes, no absence, no abstentions. With that, we end our broadcast day with the national anthem.
Closed session? Do we have to do these in closed session? I mean.
You done?
We can close it now.